Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am VC Pramod and with me is Saira Mujtaba with the Midday News. The headlines. All necessary arrangements in place for second phase of assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam tomorrow. Election campaign heats up for single phase elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry and third phase election in Assam and West Bengal. COVID-19 vaccination to be open for everyone above 45 from tomorrow. Over 6 crore 30 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines administered in the country so far. Passengers coming from 5 states with high COVID cases to undergo random testing at Delhi airport from today. Madhya Pradesh announces closing of schools for classes 1 to 8 till the 15th of April. Batch of 3 Rafale combat aircraft to reach Jamnagar Air Base in Gujarat this evening. Reserve Bank lowers base rate by 15 basis points at 7.81%. Loans by non-banking finance companies and microfinance institutes to be cheaper. WHO calls for further studies and more data on the origin of SARS-CoV-2 virus. And in tennis, world number 1 Ashley Barty storms into semi-finals of the Miami Open. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard, follow all the precautions and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news. All necessary arrangements have been made for the second phase of assembly elections in Assam and West Bengal tomorrow. In West Bengal, 30 seats spread over 4 districts will go for polls in this phase. Polling will be held on 9 seats each in East and West Medinipur, 8 seats in Bankura and 4 seats in South 24 Parganas. Over 75 lakh and 94,000 electors will decide the political fate of 171 candidates including the heavyweights. While BJP and Trinamool Congress are contesting on all the 30 seats, Congress, left parties and their alliance partner Indian Secular Front are fighting under the banner of Sanyukt Morcha. CPIM has fielded 15 candidates, Congress 9, CPI 2, ISF 2 and AIFB and RSP 1 each, while 7 candidates of the BSP, 32 independents and 44 others are also in the fray. We now go over live to our correspondent in Kolkata, Madhuparno Dhar Chaudhary, for the latest update. Madhuparno, what are the measures being taken by the EC for tomorrow's polling, especially in Nandigram?
Yes, Pramod, as we know, Nandigram is the most high-profile and prestigious seat out of 2 neighbour constituents in West Bengal, as the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is contesting from here. So ECI has taken special measures for Nandigram. A total of 651 companies of central forces have been deployed in this phase, and out of 651 companies, 22 companies of central forces are deployed only for Nandigram. All 355 booths of Nandigram are considered as sensitive, and each booth will be manned by 8 CRPF jawans. Besides that, 22 flying squads and rapid action teams will be there. And considering the sensitivity of the seat and the series of allegations from across the political parties, the district administration has decided to impose Section 144 from this evening. And since morning what we have been watching, that Naka checking is going on, and jawans of the central forces that they are doing route march. And another important point is that Nandigram, it falls under Mohishadal circle. And last night in an order, the ECI has transferred the circle inspector of Mohishadal. Pramod?
Madhuparno, tell us about the prominent candidates in this phase.
Yes, Pramod. This time in this phase, we can see very interesting contest. As we know, in Nandigram seat, Chief Minister and TNC Supremo Mamata Banerjee and former Minister of her Cabinet and now BJP leader Shubhendu Adhikari, they are in direct confrontation. In Debra seat, 2 former IPS officers, Bharati Ghosh of the BJP and Humayun Kabir of the TMC, they are fighting against each other. And State Minister Monturam Pakhira is contesting from Kasgir, while Soumen Mahapatra is fighting from Tomlok seat. Another former minister, Manos Bhuya, he is contesting from Shobong seat. Tollywood film star Soham Chakraborty is contesting from Chandipur. Sayantika Banerjee from Bankura. Both of them are contesting on TMC's ticket, while actor Hiranmoy Chatterjee, who is popularly known as Hiran, is fighting from Kharagpur Sadar as BJP candidate. And in Moyna, we can see former cricketer Ashok Dinda is trying his luck from the electoral pitch as BJP ticket. Pramod.
Thank you, Madhuparna, for that update. In Assam, 345 candidates, including 26 women, are in the fray for the 39 assembly constituencies spread over 13 districts that will go to polls tomorrow. Over 73.44 lakh voters, including 36.09 lakh women and 135 third-gender persons, will decide the fate of these candidates. Total 10,592 polling stations have been set up in the first phase for this purpose. There are three main alliances this time, including the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance with partners Ahom Gana Parishad AGP and the United People's Party Liberal UPPL and the Mahajot or Grand Alliance led by the Congress. And now let's go over to our correspondent in Guwahati, Manas Pratim Sharma, for the latest update. Manas, what preparations are being made in view of the COVID-19 situation for tomorrow's polling?
Yes, Pramod. All preparations have been made, not only for COVID, to ensure a free, fair and smooth polling. Regarding COVID, as you know, only 1,000 voters can exercise voting rights in a single polling booth. So additional polling stations have been set up that they have made wearing of hand gloves and face masks mandatory. Sanitizers will be placed at the polling stations. There will be thermal screening. There will be social distancing, and after the thermal screening, if a voter can found his body temperature abnormal twice, so he will be given a token and he will be asked to cast his votes in the last hour. So in the last hour, if required, PPE kit will be given to voters as well as to polling personnel. So in precisely all preventive measures regarding COVID and other issues have been taken to ensure a smooth polling. Back to you.
Manas, who are the prominent candidates in this phase?
Well, there are 345 candidates in this phase, including 26 female. And regarding prominent candidate, we have to name several ministers from BJP. There are Parimal Shuklavedya, Gautam, his ex-minister, Bhavesh Kalita, sitting MLA Nomal Momin. For the Congress, the Sum Rohang, he was a minister in the BJP government, but later joined Congress. Sitting MLA Kamalekha Dev Purvakasta. For BPF, the sitting MLA and senior minister Rihan Demari. For AIUDF, AIUDF chiefs Azmal brother Sirajuddin Azmal. So they are the prominent candidates, to name a few, in this phase. Back to you.
Thank you, Manas, for that update. The Election Commission has decided to use Voter Verifiable Paper Audit Trail (VVPAT) along with electronic voting machine (EVM) at every polling station with a view to enhance the transparency and credibility of the election process.
Meanwhile, campaigning is heating up in respect of the third phase in both these states and also for the single-phase elections in Kerala and Tamil Nadu as well as the Union Territory of Puducherry. Third phase polling in these two states will be held on the 6th of April. The single-phase polling in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, along with the Union Territory of Puducherry will also be held on the 6th of next month. While there will be 957 candidates in the fray for the 140 assembly constituencies of Kerala, the total number of candidates will be 4,125 in respect of 234 constituencies in Tamil Nadu. In Puducherry, 324 candidates will be vying for the 30 assembly seats. Besides, the Lok Sabha by-polls will be conducted simultaneously for Kanyakumari seat in Tamil Nadu, where there will be 12 candidates in the fray, and also for Malappuram seat in Kerala, where 6 candidates will be taking part in the electoral battle. In Kerala, the authorities are adopting a variety of ways for voter awareness campaigns, ensuring maximum participation of the people. More from our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent.
Various innovative measures are being adopted under the Election Commission's sweep action plan across the state to increase voters' turnout in the upcoming polls. In Munnar in Idiki, a kite flying festival was conducted by the district authorities and Tourism Promotion Council. Kites having symbols of sweep with messages were flown by the young voters as part of the festival. In Kollam, there is the Otu Vandi, the vehicle that travelled across the district, spreading voter awareness messages and with model polling booth facility. There was also marathon, poetry rendering, signature walls, etc. in the district, drawing the attention of voters. In Attapadi, the tribal belts of Palakkad, a football tournament was held. Cycle rallies in Pukkulam festival were also organized, spreading the importance of green protocol. As polls are nearing, authorities are not leaving any stone unturned, ensuring each vote counts in the democracy's largest festival in the state. Mayusha, Poya News from Thiruvananthapuram.
In Tamil Nadu, campaigning is gaining momentum in all the 234 assembly constituencies in the state. With just a few more days left for the single-phase polling, preparations are in full swing by the Election Commission. A report from our correspondent on one of the key constituencies.
Bodinayakanur in Keni district is a key constituency in which the coordinator of the AAADMK and the Deputy Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam is facing the election for the fifth time. It is interesting to note that he has to face Thanga Tamilselvan, a former AAADMK MLA, who is now contesting as a DMK candidate in Bodinayakanur. It will be a unique fight here as both of them were co-workers of AAADMK as long as Jayalalitha was alive. Pannirselvam was also a former Chief Minister twice when Jayalalitha was imprisoned on the disproportionate asset case. He wore the mantle of Chief Minister a third time when Jayalalitha was no more. He later gave up the post of Chief Minister in January 2017 and was removed from the post as a treasurer of the party. This was also a protest against Sasikala, who was holding the reins of the party. Later, after unification, both Pannirselvam and Edappadi K. Palaniswamy combined not only led the party but also facing this crucial election together. With Joy R. Murthy, AER News, Chennai.
In West Bengal, for the fourth phase, 373 candidates will be vying for 44 assembly seats that will go to polls on the 10th of April. Scrutiny of the nomination papers for the fifth phase is being undertaken today. Meanwhile, the process of filing nominations for the sixth phase of elections in West Bengal will continue till the 3rd of April. The last date of withdrawal of candidature will be 7th of April, and 43 assembly constituencies will go to polls in this phase on 22nd of April. The nomination process for the 7th and 8th and final phase of the assembly elections in West Bengal got underway today. Counting of votes will be taken up together on 2nd of May. COVID-19 vaccination will be open for everyone aged above 45 years from tomorrow, irrespective of comorbidities. People born before 1st January 1977 are eligible for this phase of vaccination. The comorbidities clause has been removed to make the system simpler. A report. Chairman National COVID-19 Task Force Dr. V.K. Paul appealed to people above 45 years to get vaccinated without hesitation.
कोई भी व्यक्ति जो 45 का है, 45 से ज्यादा का है, वो टीकाकरण को अपनाए। तो ये इतनी बड़ी जनसंख्या हमारे देश की आज टीकाकरण के लिए चिन्हित हो गई है, तो उनको अब आगे आके सरकार के अस्पतालों से या प्राइवेट के हॉस्पिटल से अपना टीकाकरण करवाना है। जो जनमानस की जिम्मेवारियों की बात कर रहे थे, अब उसमें ये जिम्मेवारी भी जुड़ गई है। कोई भी वजह नहीं कि आप टीका नहीं लगवाएं। सेफ हैं टीके, आपकी जान बचा सकते हैं, आपकी बीमारी सीरियस ना हो ये बचा सकते हैं।
More than 6 crore 30 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in the country so far. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry has today informed that in the last 24 hours, over 19 lakh 40,000 doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered. The active caseload in the country is continuously rising due to sudden spike in the cases reported from various states. Amid the rising new cases, more than 53,000 new cases have been reported in the country in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative positive cases to over 1 crore 21 lakh. At present, there are more than 5,52,000 active cases in the country, which comprises 4.55% of the total positive cases. The recovery rate stands at 94.11%, with more than 41,000 people recovering from the infection in the last 24 hours. Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh and Tamil Nadu have reported a surge in daily new cases. 5 states, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Punjab and Chhattisgarh, together account for over 79% of the total active cases in the country. Health Ministry said 354 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the toll to over 1,62,000 across the country.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. All necessary arrangements in place for second phase of assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam tomorrow. Election campaign heats up for single phase elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry and third phase election in Assam and West Bengal. COVID-19 vaccination to be open for everyone above 45 from tomorrow. Over 6 crore 30 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines administered in the country so far. Passengers coming from 5 states with high COVID cases to undergo random testing at Delhi airport from today. Madhya Pradesh announces closing of schools for classes 1 to 8th till 15th of April. Batch of 3 Rafale combat aircraft to reach Jamnagar Air Base in Gujarat this evening. Reserve Bank lowers base rate by 15 basis points at 7.81%. Loans by non-banking finance companies and microfinance institutes to be cheaper. WHO calls for further studies and more data on the origin of SARS-CoV-2 virus. And in tennis, world number 1 Ashley Barty storms into semi-finals of Miami Open. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Random testing of COVID-19 for passengers arriving in the national capital from states where cases are increasing has begun at the Delhi airport from today. Passengers who will be found COVID-19 positive at arrival will have to mandatorily quarantine as per the protocols of the Health Ministry. The Delhi International Airport Limited (DIAL) has informed that as per the latest mandate from the Delhi Disaster Management Authority, random COVID-19 testing of passengers coming from the states where the cases are increasing would be conducted by the authorized health officials. The travellers would be allowed to exit the airport after collection of samples. However, on being found positive, would be mandatorily quarantined as per the protocols of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. The Madhya Pradesh government on Tuesday announced that schools for classes 1 to 8th will be closed till the 15th of April. State reported 2,173 COVID-19 cases on Tuesday, while 1,279 patients recovered from the infection. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
In view of the rising COVID-19 cases, Madhya Pradesh School Education Department in a circular said that schools will remain closed for classes 1st to 8th till April 15 this year. Earlier, the state government had decided to reopen classes for standard 1 to 8 students from April 1st. Classes 9 to 12 will continue to operate with mandatory consent of parents as per the previous notification issued by the department. Meanwhile, the COVID positivity rate increased to 10.6%. More than 50 new cases are coming up daily in 7 districts of the state, including Indore, Bhopal, Jabalpur, Ratlam, Khargone, Batul and Gwalior. Similarly, the 11 districts of the state are reporting more than 20 cases every day. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
Maharashtra Health Minister Rajesh Tope has clarified that the decision regarding lockdown is yet to be finalized. Mumbai's Municipal Commissioner said that if things do not improve, then certain restrictions will have to be imposed. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Due to massive rise in COVID patients, various restrictions are imposed in the Maharashtra in last few days. Health Minister Rajesh Tope has stated that in near future, these restrictions will be more stringent. Objective of all these restrictions will be to reduce the gathering of the peoples. He also urged the citizens to follow COVID guidelines, wear masks to avoid infection and lockdown. Mr. Tope has clarified that the sufficient beds are available in the state. Some hospitals might be facing bed crunch, but this is not the situation in all the hospitals. He said that the administrations are asked to increase the number of beds along with all other necessary equipments and oxygen. Jeevan Bhavsar, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Bihar, active cases of COVID-19 rose to 1,455, with 74 new cases reported in the last 24 hours. Maximum of 602 active cases are from Patna, followed by Bhagalpur and Jahanabad. Recovery rate in the state is 98.87%. The state government has instructed to intensify COVID tests across the state. The state government has also directed Patna Medical College Hospital and Nalanda Medical College Hospital administrations for COVID test of all children coming to its emergency ward. Over 27 lakh people have so far taken the vaccine in the state so far.
Telangana has reported 684 new COVID-19 cases. The state now has more than 307,800 cases. According to the state COVID bulletin, 394 persons recovered from the infection in the last 24 hours. Currently, there are over 4,900 active cases in the state and nearly 1,900 patients are in home isolation. 3 persons succumbed to COVID-19 yesterday, taking the toll to 1,697. Over 12,30,000 people have been vaccinated in the state so far. All India Radio News has been at the forefront of raising awareness on COVID-19 among the citizens since the first coronavirus case was reported in India. AIR started a special public outreach program, Corona Jagrukta series, in March last year. Renowned doctors from famous hospitals participated in the program and responded to various queries from citizens. The 350th episode of the program was aired last evening. Niti Aayog member and chairman of the National COVID-19 Task Force, Dr. V.K. Paul, took part in this landmark edition and answered the queries of the listeners. He praised All India Radio for the active role it has been playing since the outbreak of the disease.
रेडियो की जो पहुंच है वो बहुत डीप है, बहुत आगे तक है और हर वर्ग के व्यक्ति को ये मैसेजिंग करने में सक्षम होता है और उसमें आकाशवाणी का जो इतना नेटवर्क है तो उसमें मुझे तो एक मिशनरी ज़ील दिखाई देती है और उस मिशनरी ज़ील के द्वारा ऑल इंडिया रेडियो ने जो भूमिका निभाई है उसका बड़ा योगदान है कोरोना के जन आंदोलन को बनाने में, को बढ़ाने में और लोगों तक ठीक जानकारी पहुंचाना। सबसे बड़ी बात आप ये इंश्योर करते हो कि जो बात आप पहुंचाएंगे वो कारगर होगी, सच्ची होगी और सीधे जनहित की बात आप करते हो.
And we now bring you a report on the vaccination drive being open from tomorrow for people above 45.
All persons of 45 years and above can register themselves in the CoWIN system for booking of appointment for vaccination. On-site registration of such persons will also be permissible. People can go to their nearest vaccination center after 3 p.m. for on-site registration with any identity document. If a beneficiary has taken an online appointment for vaccination on CoWIN, then there is no need to take any further appointment at private or public hospitals. If any hospital does not follow these guidelines of vaccination, then one must lodge a complaint at toll-free number 1075. Suparna Segya, AIR News, Delhi.
The WHO has called for further studies and more data on the origin of SARS-CoV-2 virus, which has killed 2.79 million people around the world so far. It has reiterated that all hypotheses remain open on the issue. The WHO yesterday released a report on the global tracing of COVID-19 origins following a joint research with China. The research focused on issues including the pathways of the virus and future investigation in different countries. According to the report, it is possible that COVID-19 introduction in humans was likely to very likely through an intermediate host and through cold or food chain products. WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said that finding the origin of a virus takes time. He said they owe it to the world to find the source so that they can collectively take steps to reduce the risk of this happening again. Shortly after the release of the report, the United States and 13 allies, including South Korea, Australia and the UK, voiced concern over the report and urged China to provide full access to experts.
The fourth batch of 3 Rafale combat aircraft will reach Jamnagar Air Base in Gujarat from France this evening. According to reports, UAE Air Force's Airbus 330 multi-role transport tankers will provide air-to-air refueling to the jets over the Gulf of Oman. Later, these aircraft will join the Golden Arrow Squadron stationed at the Ambala Air Force Station. AIR correspondent reports that with the arrival of the new batch, the number of the Rafale aircraft will increase to 14. A report from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
According to the sources, these 3 aircraft took off from Marignac Air Base in France Bordeaux at 7 a.m. this morning and most likely to reach Gujarat around 7 p.m. today. The Indian Air Force is set to raise a second squadron of the Rafale combat aircraft in mid-April. India is expected to get more Rafale jets from France in the next couple of months. A squadron comprises around 18 aircraft. The first batch of 5 Rafale jets arrived in India on 29 July last year. India signed an intergovernmental agreement agreement with France to procure 36 Rafale aircraft. The formal induction ceremony of the fleet had taken place at Ambala on 10th September last year. The Rafale jets are India's first major acquisition of fighter planes in last 23 years after the Sukhoi jets were imported from Russia. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
Various loans offered by non-banking finance companies, NBFC and microfinance institutes, MFI, are expected to be cheaper from tomorrow. Reserve Bank today communicated that the applicable base rate to be charged as 7.81%. It is lower by 15 basis points as compared to the current quarter. During the same period last year, it was 8.76. On the last working day of every quarter, RBI advises interest rates to be charged by NBFC MFIs to their borrowers in the ensuing quarter. It is based on the average of the base rates of the 5 largest commercial banks.
Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat was announced by the Prime Minister on 31st of October 2015 on the occasion of the 140th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Since then, the paired states have organized several camps to promote national integration. More from our Bengaluru correspondent.
Karnataka is paired with Uttarakhand. The Nehru Yuva Kendra and NSS wings of universities in Karnataka had organized several national integration camps for the youths of Uttarakhand visiting Karnataka. Youth in the age group of 15 to 29 years participated in the camps where language learning exercise was undertaken. Youths performed cultural events and took part in culinary and cuisine festivals. The youth also had an opportunity to play traditional games, watch special films and documentaries, share their experiences, present talks and interact with renowned persons. All such activities have helped in the growth of mutual understanding, improved bonding and promoted friendship between the two paired states. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
On to sports. Australian Ashlyn Barty, the world #1 tennis player in women's category, advanced to the semi-finals of the Miami Open tennis tournament in Florida, USA. Barty battled through a 3-setter to oust 7-seeded Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus. Russian top seed Daniil Medvedev booked his place in the quarterfinals of the men's tournament yesterday, beating Francis Tiafoe of the United States in straight sets. Medvedev hammered down 11 aces in the win, breaking Tiafoe 3 times en route to victory. The Sensex and the Nifty today fell by around 1% in the afternoon trade amid weakness in the global stocks. The BSE Sensex was trading below 50,000 mark at 49,592. Nifty at National Stock Exchange was trading near 14,700 level.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for the day. National capital Delhi experienced strong surface winds. It registered 20 degrees Celsius as minimum temperature and may have a maximum temperature of 36 degrees. Mumbai with clear sky will have maximum temperature of 32 degrees Celsius. The city recorded a minimum of 21 degrees. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky, is likely to have a maximum temperature of 39 degrees Celsius. Minimum temperature was 27 degrees. Chennai is having a partly cloudy sky with temperature rising up to 40 degrees Celsius. The minimum temperature in the city was 27 degrees. Srinagar with mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 7 and 20 degrees Celsius. Jammu is having a mainly clear sky. The city will have a maximum temperature of around 34 degrees and minimum will be 13 degrees. Leh is witnessing partly cloudy sky. Maximum temperature will be around 10 degrees Celsius, rising from -1 degree. Gilgit is having mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between 7 and 22 degrees Celsius. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. All necessary arrangements in place for second phase of assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam tomorrow. Election campaign heats up for single phase elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, and third phase election in Assam and West Bengal. COVID-19 vaccination to be open for everyone above 45 from tomorrow. Over 6 crore 30 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines administered in the country so far. Passengers coming from 5 states with high COVID cases to undergo random testing at Delhi airport from today. Madhya Pradesh announces closing of schools for classes 1 to 8 till the 15th of April. Batch of 3 Rafale combat aircraft to reach Jamnagar Air Base in Gujarat this evening. Reserve Bank lowers base rate by 15 basis points at 7.81%. Loans by non-banking finance companies and microfinance institutes to be cheaper. And in tennis, world #1 Ashley Barty storms into semi-finals of the Miami Open. And with that, we end the Midday News.